of the Riverside Township Board of Trustees to order. Please rise, and Clerk Reyes, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Would you please call the roll?
Sure. Trustee Clark.
Present.
Trustee Heilenbach.
Present.
Trustee Carroll.
Present.
Trustee DeCosta.
Present.
Clerk Reyes is here. Supervisor Wilt.
Present. We have a quorum. So, the first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the September 10th board meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the September 10th board meeting.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion by trustee Clark, second by trustee DeCassola, to approve the minutes of the September 10th Board of Trustees meeting. Are there any additions or corrections?
Trustee Carroll.
Did I say Carol? Or did
You
I?
said Clark.
Sorry. I had it on my tongue.
It's okay. It's
Trustee
okay.
Carroll and trustee
I'm happy to
DeCassola.
share the glory.
Thank you. Now, are there any additions or corrections or questions to these minutes? I didn't think we talked that long. Hearing none, then I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the acceptance of the September 10th minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. And then we have the minutes of the October 1st Committee of the Whole meeting. What is your pleasure?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting from October 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
You do. I'll second that.
Okay. I have a motion by trustee DeCassola, seconded by trustee Carroll, to accept the minutes of the October 1st Committee of the Whole meeting. Are there any additions or corrections or discussion on those? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. Are there any communications?
There were no communications, Supervisor.
No communications, thank you. Supervisor's report. There was a visit last week by George from Audit Them, a YouTube group auditing government agencies regarding compliance with transparency laws. Ironically, he came to see the township. He starts on the outside, walking up, using his cell phone the whole time, saying he's going for the township, walks in, opens our door, peeks in, says, "I'm here to check on government," and we said, "Great," and he closed the door and then proceeded to look at the bulletin boards and then went to the village. So he asked for the FOIA officer for the village, and Ethan Sowell did meet with him very well. There were some things he criticized that they should be posted, that the law says, and Ethan says, "I can provide that to you," and, then a couple of minutes later, he brought him all the items that he wanted, and he kept referring to the township, and Ethan kept correcting him, pointing out, he took pictures, he went back and forth to both bulletin boards. They are clearly marked township and village separately, but he didn't quite get that. And so ultimately, when he finally understood that we're two different government agencies, he was tired. He had already gone around the building, checked in all the rooms, saying, "Oh, this is a nice big room," and "Oh, what's this?" and so forth and so on. And then he left saying, "Well, I'll have to come back for the township." So I guess we'll get another visit, but it was, he actually looked at, we had our organizational chart, and he made note that that was one of his checklist items and that it was there, but he did criticize that at the very top should have been the citizens of the township, and we didn't have it that way. So anyway.
Was he at all interested in the audit?
He didn't care about anything.
Okay.
He was looking for very specific things that should be posted. And he didn't feel that everything was posted as it should have been. He was interested in the budget, which can easily be provided. He didn't like that there were things in the village's side that had hyperlinks to their website and kept referring to that all these things were available on their website, and he didn't think that was adequate, but.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Noted.
Noted, yes, exactly. So, that was our fun little visit last week. That encounter and then several comments from residents lately have upped the priority of having a more permanent solution for a service window, though, than what we jerry-rigged during COVID, blocking the door and so forth. When we stopped, at that point, we had, stopped letting people walk into the office. I have reached out to a couple of local contractors with the idea of replacing those 2 middle glass panels in the windows that are to the right of the front door of the office with like a service window. One referred me to a millwright firm who could create such a window, and another came out to measure and is looking for some service windows and so forth. I haven't received any proposals from either. I'm going to follow up with the millwrights, who I was given the impression that they were going to contact me, but I will follow up with them and see what we can do. It should be big enough to still keep like light panel windows there and use those middle too. But that's another thing that we do need to prioritize that I had not had on our checklist. The auditorium continues to present challenges. I previously mentioned that the wall needs repairs. The stage drape has a tear near the top, which is growing, and the speakers failed to work when the radio players had their show at the end of September. The auditorium has had a lot of use lately, which produces some revenue, so I want to keep it up. I reached out to the drape repair companies I was able to find online. One has presented a quote. You will find it in the reports section of your binder. They would, in one day, take the drapes down, repair, clean, re-fireproof if necessary, recertify the fireproof and put it back up, but that comes at a price of a little over $2,200. The other company has promised to come out to inspect the situation for a quote, and I reminded them this week, and they say that they will come out this week sometime to check it out. So we'll have 2 quotes. Both have cautioned that the tear could mean dry rot, which would make the repair impossible, so I hope that's not the case. I have not looked into the cost of replacing that stage drape. I believe the tear occurred when the rope for drawing it broke and someone yanked too hard trying to move it manually. So I'm hoping that it seems to be in good condition otherwise, but that's how those things happen. Anyway, for the failed speaker, we called in a local sound expert who's previously helped us with both the auditorium and this room. In consultation with John Gelsomino, as well as Lorenzo Cordova from Riverside TV, who were there when the speakers failed, Alan Goodcase, who is here with us this evening, of Future Technology Systems, has reviewed the situation, and this evening we have a proposal later in the agenda for not only replacing the speakers, but updating the system for current use. I am still looking for a good plaster contractor for the east wall. Tomorrow is the last day of the farmer's market, so I don't have an update for you, because tomorrow I'm sure will bring a lot of people who have been sitting on their vouchers all summer. Yeah, and who will now buy everything on the last day. However, we have distributed over 600 vouchers, and that's higher than we've ever done. And so if all of those were redeemed, it would be over $3,000 in value. I'm sure some will not use them, some never do. We also had a presence at the Monarch Festival at the North Riverside Commons Park a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, it was a rainy morning, so attendance only picked up slightly when it stopped drizzling. I thank Trustee Clark for participating along with me, and I also thank Trustee Carroll for opening the building this past Sunday for the Riverside Caucus. This Thursday, we will participate in the Trunk or Treat event at the Village of Riverside's Parks and Recreation Department, which they organized. It'll be over near the water tower, again, right along the parking for the train station. We'll have a decorated car and candy to distribute. It's a pretty easy thing that, last year was the first time, so it'll probably pick up a little this time. And it runs from 5 to 6:30. They don't want anybody to leave before 7 for safety. After the candy, then they light the tower, so it's a little celebration. That's all I have, but I'd happily answer any questions you might have.
What was the date for that event, please?
The 10th, for
The 10th?
trunk or treat? Yes, that's
Thank
this
you.
Thursday, the 10th.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. Any questions? And hearing none, we'll move on to other trustees' reports. Trustee Clark, do you have something for us?
I just want to say that the exercise class continues to go well. I'm trying to think of a senior outing, around Christmas time. And don't forget to register for the TOI conference, November 11th through 13th.
Very good. Trustee, okay, we'll skip back and forth. Trustee DeCassola, do you have anything?
Thank you, Supervisor. No report tonight.
Okay. Trustee Carroll.
No reports today, thank you.
Okay. Trustee Heilenbach.
The Mental Health Board met after the summer, July and August being off, in September. The only thing that really is of importance is that we do have another vacancy on the Mental Health Board, which if you noticed in the newsletter, we had, sent out for applications if somebody was interested. And also, I've adjusted our Community Resource Center hours. They'll no longer be open in the evenings. We're trying to work it so when the township is open, for the most part, they'll be open. Sean Lewis, who's from Aging Care Connections, has done a great job with getting that together, and we should see, hopefully, a little more traffic in that time. That concludes my report.
Okay. By the way, I have received one interested party so far.
Okay, very good.
Okay. And that concludes the reports of the trustees. I don't see the assessor here this evening, so we will move on to unfinished business. And one of the topics at the Committee of the Whole was compensation for the next term, which begins the third Monday of next year. And so we have the proposed ordinance to approve this evening. That would be ordinance number 2024-2. And it is the compensation for all positions have been kept the same in an effort to be fiscally responsible. The only change from the last term is that there were travel within the township. There was a travel allowance previously available to both the supervisor and the clerk, and we really didn't feel like in a township this size, we need to do that. And so to save a little bit more money, there is no travel allowance within the township. Of course, if we travel on township business outside, we still have the possibility of that. I don't think we need to read the entire ordinance, do we?
No.
Then, but we have left the travel allowance for the assessor who does drive around within the township to inspect properties and so forth, and sometimes even meet with people who are housebound. So that proposal is before you, and what is your pleasure?
I make a motion that we approve the ordinance of Riverside Township regarding the salaries for the next 4 years for the elected officials.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Heilenbach, second by trustee Carroll, to approve the ordinance of Riverside Township number 2024-2, an ordinance setting compensation of township officials for the 4-year term beginning May 19th, 2025. Is there any discussion? Then this should be by roll call vote, so if the clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Heilenbach.
Yes.
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee DeCosta.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes. Motion is carried. Thank you. Under new business, there is one request for a special event for Saturday, December 7th, for a baby shower. And since there will be some alcohol served, it is before this board now.
I make a motion, we approve the event request for December 7th.
I second it.
A motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Heilenbach, to approve the request for special use on December 7th. I will abstain from this as it's a request from me. Are there any questions or any additions or corrections? The insurance will be provided in a timely manner and all other rules will be followed. So if the clerk would please call the roll on this.
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Trustee Heilenbach.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee DeCosta.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Abstain. Motion is carried. Okay, next item is the purchase of holiday gift cards for the food pantry recipients. These, traditionally, we have either given one at Thanksgiving and another at Christmas, but for the last couple of years, we just gave one bigger one because not everybody celebrates both. And so whenever they come in that period, they can get one card. You have before you what we did last year. Last year, we gave a $50 gift card and handed out a total of 69 of them. Those went to were both for Riverside Foods and for Aldi. And we tried to split those pretty evenly. What is your pleasure?
Could I question
Yes.
prior? Is 69 going to be enough, do you think, or?
We
Would you like to
usually
increase that?
usually the board gives me authority to purchase more if
Okay,
needed.
that's, I want to make sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't like to overbuy up front.
Okay.
And we kind of gauge it,
That's
and
fine.
so if you can authorize up to a certain number if you like.
Well,
And
I
I-
mean, you will come back to us if there's, there's more, I'm sure, after Thanksgiving,
Sure.
and say, you know what?
We may have more because we had more people participating now.
absolutely.
I can never tell if that is because the word is out that we give the vouchers in the summer. But a lot of people also only come around the holidays when they know they'll get to shop, so.
So you said we had 84 people right now using the food pantry?
That's roughly that.
So that would be $4,200 if they all, but I think we should continue the policy of $150 gift card per recipient
Right.
in the holiday season.
Yeah, I think sticking with the 69, or if you want to round it up 1 to 70.
Yeah, I mean, that was just how many we actually used.
Move it up to 70, and then if we need more, you can just approach us, and I'm sure we'll approve it with no problem.
We can do that. Would you like to put that in the form of a motion?
Sure. I make a motion that we purchase 70 gift cards from Riverside Foods and Aldi Foods in the amount of $50 each for the holiday handouts that we give for the in-need community residents.
Trustee Heilenbach? Do you want to clarify that a little more so there's not 70 from Riverside Foods and 70 from Aldi's?
70 total coming from Riverside Foods and Aldi. Thank you. That'd be $3,500 in total.
Okay. I have a motion to purchase 70 total gift cards in the amount of $50 each in a combination of Aldi and Riverside Foods. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Heilenbach, seconded by trustee DeCassola, to purchase 70 gift cards in the amount of $50 each for the holiday distribution to food pantry recipients, and those would be in combination, a combination of Aldi and Riverside Foods. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Trustee DeCosta.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Trustee Heilenbach.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes. Motion is carried. All right, next item is the 2025 Township meeting dates and holidays. You don't have to approve them now. This is a proposal for next year. It looks like the township officials of Illinois are making this a permanent move to weekdays for their November meeting, so the only outlier, that's not a second Tuesday, is the November meeting. And then holidays, these are the days that we would be closed, but the staff gets paid because it's a holiday. And this is pretty much what we did this year, except that because of when Christmas falls, rather than doing Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we are doing Christmas Day and the day after, because otherwise coming back on Friday would not work out terribly well, I would say, to have the days off midweek.
I think we should just go ahead and approve these.
You're most welcome to do that. I just wanted you to know that there isn't a rush if you need.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the calendar for the year 2025.
I'll second.
The motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Carroll, to approve the proposed calendar for public notice for 2025 meeting dates as well as closed dates. And actually, we also, I would make it a part of that motion if you're willing to include also the dates that we pre-schedule for committee of the whole. If it's easier to have those posted and cancel if we don't need the meeting. So,
I will include that in my motion, the township calendar for year 2025, including meeting dates, holidays, and committee of the whole meetings.
thank you. Trustee Carroll, will you second?
I
that
will second.
amendment?
Yes.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the 2025 calendar for the township. That includes regular meeting dates, holidays, and committee of the whole meetings. Is there any question, any discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. And now we have the opportunity to discuss the levy, which we don't have to pass quite yet, and I haven't even got any cost of living kinds of,
CPI.
the CPI adjustment yet. As soon as we have those numbers, I will do a proposal. I don't plan to juggle it like last year. It would probably be across the board for both GA and general funds. And then before we approve a levy, we'll also need the levy proposal from the mental health board. That's part of our one levy. So I don't know if you have that on the
We
mental
do
health
have it
board
on the
agenda.
docket, but we're waiting to hear about the
Okay.
CPI as you are.
Right.
And then we'll make a decision on that.
Okay.
So we'll probably do our budget meeting at the committee of the whole in February?
So it's not the budget meeting, it's the
Or
levy
the-
meeting. And
the
that's
levy meeting, I'm
And this
sorry.
one's always a little trickier because our fiscal year is different from the calendar year. And so I always have to make make adjustments for that. Right now, we're in pretty good shape because now we got our money on time this year, but I never know how to anticipate what changes might come about. So, I think that we'll probably want to go with a flat levy within the limits without having to have any big hearings, but, you know, we operate as fiscally responsibly as we can. So just wanted you to have that on your radar, that township levy is coming around the corner. We have to file that, I think it's like the third week of December that it has to
I
be.
think last Tuesday.
Is it? Okay, right. So,
Okay, last Tuesday.
very good. So we can approve it at our December meeting, having, you know, so we still have November to.
As soon as you get, oops, sorry, go ahead.
I will share that with you as soon as I have
I
it.
think you announced a tentative levy amount at the November meeting. I'll double check on that, but that,
Okay.
I think most agencies pass it at their December meeting and then
Right.
file by the end of the month with the county.
Okay. Thank you. All right, and our next item is the proposal for the auditorium sound system repair. We have Alan Goodcase with us here. Maybe you'd like to give a little background. If you would, step up to the microphone, identify yourself, because we are televised this evening, and then tell us what you've done or plan to do.
I'm Alan Goodcase, Future Technology Systems. Future Systems is celebrating its 30th year. We've done work here at the Township Hall before, done work here on the projector, and also did other work in the auditorium, and do a lot of work in this area. Presently got projects going over at Riverside Brookfield High School, which seems like it's never ending. There's always one project after another. If you've been there for any event at all and listened to a sound system, that sound system was probably designed and installed by Future Systems. We also work next door at the library. So regarding the auditorium, I was called out here because there's some problems with the system. It was distorting, and there's also been ongoing problems with the speakers and other parts of the system. Most recently, the wireless microphones were replaced, and so they're pretty much in top-notch condition, and they should be good for a long time. So my goal here was to try to get the system up to par the rest of the way. A lot of the equipment in there was quite old. When you got a system that has a double cassette deck in it, it kind of gives it away that there's some old things in there. So what I proposed in my design was regarding the cassette deck, it'd be replaced with a modern media player, and that media player would play. It's actually only 1 3/4 inch high. Very popular in sound systems now. It plays a CD. You can play MP3 files off of a CD, off of a thumb drive. You could have a direct connection to a MP3 player if you plug one into it. And most importantly, it'll do Bluetooth. So if somebody wants to link their phone and play some music through it or something else through it on the Bluetooth, they'll be able to do that. I think that the heart of a sound system is to be able to have it as usable as possible, and in many situations. And the fact that you lease that room out to people to use it, it makes the room a little bit more valuable and a little more up to date, at least on the technology end, so that people can come in and they can expect to use it for whatever reason they would like to. So basically, my plan is for replacing that media player, and also the mixer. There's a sound mixer in there. It's also a mixer amplifier, and I think that's where some of the distortion is coming from. It's quite old, so rather than replacing it with another combination mixer amplifier all in one box, I'm going to, proposing to put in a separate amplifier and separate mixer. That way, if something goes wrong with one of those elements, it can be serviced or replaced separately. You don't have to replace the whole thing. It's more cost-effective. And then, let's see what else I have here. There's a lot of inputs that are connections to various places around the stage and things, and I tend to trace all those out, clear them up, and make sure that they're all wired correctly and that they're usable.
The type of speakers?
The speakers are an essential part. The speakers that are in there now are kind of a general speaker that just puts the sound out in a big cone. And that sound reflects off the walls and the ceiling, and it creates a lot of reverberation in the room. And in rooms such as that, and it's very typical in churches especially, where you have all these hard surfaces and you can't control the sound very well, and intelligibility is bad, they have speakers that are more directive, that aim the sound down to where the people are sitting and away from the walls and the ceiling. And that's pretty much, that's the heart of what I'd be installing to correct that problem, or to help correct that problem. It's really difficult in a live room like that. And of course, the more people that are in the room, the better it'll sound, because people absorb sound, and the acoustics will be better. So those are pretty much the main elements involved with the system. The speakers are the most expensive part. Let's see, anything else? Speaker wiring.
So is that system that you're proposing, it will be able to absorb, like if they're showing a movie in there, you can put the sound from, like if they're playing a movie on a computer or something, they could put it through that system, so they could have they were showing a movie in the auditorium or had some sort of visual.
Yeah, if they need to connect with Bluetooth or need to just plug into one of the connections on the stage, they should be able to do that and use the system. That's a good example of having it more usable, because you do have a portable projector to use in there. I know, because I set it up.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that they talk to each other, yeah.
Right.
Yes. Any other questions?
I have a couple questions, please. The ease, what's the ease of use of the new system? How easy is it for people to use?
Pardon me?
How easy is the new system for people to use?
It'll be essentially as easy as the system is now. I'm leaving it, there are systems that I set up, especially at the schools. I set up a mixer, common mixer, you've got a control for every microphone and all that. And over at the schools, a lot of the things I set up, they're electronic mixers. There are no controls on there. It's all pre-set up, so that there's one control for overall volume, and that's it. And especially when you have a system installed in a pool area or other area where there's going to be a lot of different users and something could get messed up easy, this is a way of making it so it's foolproof and it just runs all the time. I never get calls for these systems.
Okay.
They just work and work. But that electronic mixer is considerably more expensive. I could install something like that here, but being that the room is used for so many different purposes, leaving it as a regular mixer where someone can come in and make an adjustment to it. I know it's locked up most of the time, so that limits access. So hopefully the people that do have access to it will know what they're doing. That would give a little more versatility for the system.
And what is the approximate lifespan of the new equipment being installed?
Pardon me?
The approximate lifespan of the new equipment being installed?
The lifespan should be quite good, because it's all in a rack cabinet, so it doesn't get handled, doesn't get moved around. I would suspect that the thing that has the least lifespan is the media player. Why we think that CDs and MP3s and Bluetooth are the latest thing today, maybe 10 years from now, it may not be the latest thing anymore. So that's the only piece that I would see is getting old, is that speakers should last for a very long time. They should last pretty indefinitely. The other components as well. The cabinet is already equipped with a surge protector, which helps to protect all the equipment in the system. It's kind of essential. And of course, that will remain. There are other parts of the system that are going to be untouched. There's a separate amplifier that powers a speaker out in the hallway. That amplifier is just fine. There's nothing wrong with it, so there's no need to replace it. So anything that doesn't need to be replaced won't be replaced. Another important part is that there's all this wiring that's been left by other contractors, all this extraneous wiring surrounding the cabinet, and I intend to go through that and clean it all up. That way, anybody that comes in the future to do some work, they'll take a look at it and they'll go, oh, this will be easy, this will be low cost, because it looks clean and it looks easy to work on. So that's also helpful.
And one last question, how long will the work take?
The work should only take a few days, 2 or 3 days at the most.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question, it's quick. How old do you think that equipment is up there?
Well, I'll tell you that the wireless microphone system I took out of there was really old.
I know.
I don't know exactly how old it was, but it had to be really old. The other equipment, I'm not quite sure. Of course, the cassette deck is from the 1980s. So I suspect some of the other equipment may be from the 1980s also.
So, okay. So about 30 years old, in that range.
Yeah, somewhere
Okay,
around there.
thank you.
More. Yes.
And getting back to how user-friendly it is, so if I was to rent the auditorium and I wanted to hook my phone up to the speaker, that would be fairly simple?
It's so simple that it's just like pairing it to something else in your home. You switch it to Bluetooth, and you push the button, the pairing button, you go on your phone and say, okay, I approve this, because you'll see it appear on
Yeah,
your phone.
okay.
And then it's paired. And it'll pair, this is a unit I haven't used that much, because the one I used to use, they just discontinued. But typically, they'll pair maybe 8 or 9 or 10 ones, and then when you go to pair a new one, it'll drop off the oldest one.
Okay.
Any other questions? What is your pleasure?
All right, thank you.
I'll make a motion that we accept Future Technology Systems for upgrading our auditorium AV system in the amount of $5,410.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by trustee DeCassola, seconded by trustee Heilenbach, to approve the proposal from Future Systems. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then would you please call the roll, please?
Sure. Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Trustee Heilenbach.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee DeCosta.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes. Thank you. Motion is carried. Well, I'll sign off on it tomorrow if you, or if you need something. You can go ahead. All right. And you have all the backup to it. By the way, there's room in the budget under equipment, durable equipment, so we are okay to go on that. For your information, you have a copy of what was filed with the county clerk's office, the annual treasurer's report, which has to be filed. It's a summary of the audited report by category, and it's a one-pager, so that was filed with the county. There's a reminder here that our Shred-a-thon event is on Saturday, October the 19th, at the Masonic Lodge parking lot, which, by the way, I've driven past there lately. It looks like it's been resurfaced. It looks like a
It
beautiful.
has been, yeah.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So we should have a nice smooth sailing, and hopefully we'll have good weather.
No swarms of bugs like we had at the last one.
That would be nice. So 9 a.m. till noon at 40 Forest Avenue, and we ask that it be only confidential material that needs shredding, not magazines and junk mail and such. And we ask the residents to limit it to no more than 3 boxes of paper for shredding boxes or bins. And it'll be a drive-up event as always. It will include a food drive for the food pantry, so you don't even have to leave your car. Pop the trunk, we'll take out anything you want shredded or donated, and we'll give you back your bins and boxes, and you can be on your way. So a reminder to the public about that event.
Are we gonna have a chase car this year for the guys that hit the? Remember that guy took the right and hit
Hit
the
me.
car? Hit you?
Hit me, yes. Yes, we are on the
We're gonna
lookout
have a chase
because
car.
he,
You can organize.
Block that spot out.
Didn't know it was going to be a dangerous job to be a
Yeah.
trustee, did you?
yes, that's what,
Departmental cooperation.
$10,000 worth of damage.
Oh,
How much?
10,000.
Wow.
So we will be on the lookout for the,
Chase car.
Man.
I'm not joking anymore.
Wow.
yeah, that's what,
Wow. All right, and a reminder, if you plan to go to the Township Officials of Illinois Conference, please register as soon as possible. The material is here and also in the magazine. And we have come to the point of approval of warrants. Trustee DeCosta?
yes. Thank you. I make a motion that the board authorize and ratify payment of the bills identified on the general warrant, October 2024, in the amount of $24,213.66 as presented to the board, excuse me, this 8th day of October 2024.
second,
I have a motion by trustee DeCassola, seconded by trustee Clark, to approve the general warrants for October 2024 in the amount of $24,213.66. Are there any questions, any discussion? If not, then would Clerk Reyes please call the roll?
Trustee DeCosta,
Yes.
Trustee Carroll,
Yes.
Trustee Clark,
yes,
Trustee Heilenbach.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes. Motion is carried.
And I make a motion that the board ratify and authorize payment of the amounts indicated on the following warrants. Utility warrant, October 2024, in the amount of $1,095.59. Payroll warrant, $18,453.55. Health warrant, $3,166.55.
I think that's actually a 168, sorry.
$3,168.55.
Yes.
General assistance warrant, $7,229.89. Township radio players, $180. Food pantry, $945.11. All of the above presented to the board this 8th day of October, 2024.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee DeCassola, seconded by trustee Carroll, to approve the following warrants for October 2024 in the following amounts. Utility warrant, $1,095.59. Payroll warrant, $18,453.55. Health warrant, $3,168.55. General assistance warrant, $7,229.89. Township radio players warrant, $180. And food pantry warrant, $945.11. Are there any questions? Any discussion? Hearing none. Clerk Reyes, would you please call the roll on these?
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Trustee Heilenbach.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee DeCosta.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes. Motion is carried. Thank you. Are there any public comments? Anybody here want to say anything to the board? Ask any questions? If not, then we can proceed to adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Clark, second by trustee DeCassola to adjourn this meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.